It is Lighthouse Shock Jock number 14. And I think I f***ed up, everybody. I really did. You ever have one of those moments in life where, you don't realize it's happening to you as it's happening to you, but afterwards, right afterwards, you just, you kind of slap yourself in the face and you go, I really missed out here. And the thing that I missed out on, right, is the potential to have been able to be on workers' comp and not have had to go to work and still have made money. I know, call me an idiot, and I am. I would deserve it completely. But here's the thing, right? It didn't occur to me even as a thought, right, until after it happened. So here's what happened, right? So of course we all know, I don't know how far we really want to go with the backstory here. It all started in 1953 when it was cold, cold. So that's pretty much it. It's cold out, right? So of course, the insides of trailers are going to be frozen. And that happens a lot with, those trailers that you see just driving on the highway, those giant ass trucks, the trailers that are on the back of them, they get cold too. They get cold. You know what happens sometimes, by the way? The door, the handle gets stuck. It gets frozen, and you have to just crash into it. Oh, this is unofficial, by the way. Completely unofficial. I am not going on the record with this in any capacity, but sometimes you just have to crash into the frozen door, man. You have to crash into it, and you have to use a very heavy piece of machinery that can lift very heavy equipment, and you have to pry that door open, man. You just have to do it. Anyway, so I was doing that, right? And it was a very particularly cold day, okay? And so this was a day that all of the trailers are frozen. And you know what I do not have? The ability to not slip and fall very humorously. It was like a banana peel. Those banana peels in an old cartoon that you just, you weep, weep, weep. Oh, I even have a sound effect for this. Yeah, it was exactly like that. You just slip on the banana peel, except I slipped on my stupid ass in the middle of a frozen trailer, right on my ass too. The entire left side of my ass is completely bruised. It kind of hurts to walk now. And you know what the best part about it is? That my boss, the big boss of our part of the warehouse, right? He was standing right there. All I had to do right there was just yell, "Help, help." And, he would turn around, see my dumb ass on my back in the middle of a frozen trailer, unable to get up. I've fallen. I'd be like Wilford Brimley. Not really. He's in the diabetes commercials, but I don't know any other example of an old person. I don't know what that old lady's name is in that commercial that goes, "Help, help, I've fallen and I can't get up." Nobody knows what her name is. Nobody knows what her name is because she didn't market herself, okay? She didn't market herself like Wilford Brimley did with the mustache and the diabetes. She didn't market herself, so we don't know what the name is of the poor elderly lady who has fallen and can't get up. But I did that in the middle of a trailer, right? And so, sitting there on my back, my stupid ass gets up, walks over to my boss to talk to him about something else, casually mentioned the fact that I just slipped and fell on my ass like a f***ing idiot in a banana peel. And he tells me, right, of course he asked me, are you okay? Are you okay? And, without a second thought in my mind, I go, "Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about it." And I go right back to talking about work or some shit, or, just something that was going on that day, I guess. Who cares? Whatever. It was stupid. I don't even remember anyway. But what I do remember is afterwards, somebody coming up to me that also works there and goes, this didn't even occur to me until then. He goes, "You're a better person than the rest of us." You know what the rest of us would have done? We would have flopped. We would have fallen on our asses, and we could have just... It starts off with, you think that you're just getting the day off, right? But you start off as just thinking that, oh, maybe I get a day off. Oh my gosh, I get a day off. But no, you imagine what that could have been. I've broken my collarbone before. Could have angled it that way. It wouldn't have been broken, and I would have had to actually go see a doctor who would have verified that I did not have a broken collarbone. But I probably wouldn't do that anyway. But at the very least, the pain in the ass part about it is that my leg actually hurts more now, a few days later, now that it's all bruised and the entire left side of my ass is just black. That's the biggest pain in the ass, actually. Because that part of it still hurts, and I still have to go to work because it was too late. But it wasn't until he came up to me and told me, you're a better person than the rest of us. The rest of us would have flopped. I verified it with at least 2 or 3 other people, and I asked them, this was stupid, right? And they all told me, yeah, we would have flopped and at least have gotten a few weeks off. And then, it hits you immediately. Whenever you miss out on an opportunity that you could have seized, but you were just like, you completely missed the ball on it, right? And it hits you, the opportunity that you missed out on, and you just go, and you hate yourself for it, right? You hate yourself for it. So I spent the rest of the day pissed off because of the fact that I could have gotten out of work for a few weeks. Paid, by the way. BT dubs. And just didn't do it. My ass still went today. Still went yesterday. Still gonna go tomorrow. It's okay. There's some other stories that I have there that I'll probably spread out throughout the show as it comes back, because it is back, baby. Probably. Is it really? I don't know. I'm not, by the way, whenever I do that, I just like break into little random snickers. It's A, because I'm a complete schizo, and B, it's not because I'm laughing at myself. It's because whatever I'm laughing at, it's always the absurdity of the situation. I'm laughing at the greater existentiality of just how fantastic everything is. Just how great everything is. It's funny, though, because you don't have a lot of these moments very often, unless you're a normal, well-adjusted human being. But neither I nor I believe anybody listening to this is a properly well-adjusted human being. But I could be wrong on that. I could be wrong about that. Leave me a comment. Tell me how well-adjusted you are. That's good for you. I'm so happy for you. Being all well-adjusted. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Something related to the show. It might be back. It probably is. Who knows? The thing is, though, I'm not really the type of person that I think could take workman's comp. And that's the thing that I would be curious for. That, I guess, would be a good opportunity for, to be the good podcast host, to do the whole call to action thing, right? Where I ask you to leave a comment. First of all, leave a comment telling me how well adjusted you are. That, good for you. But please let me know if you're well adjusted, because I do indeed need to confirm that there are actually well adjusted people out there. Because here's the thing, if everybody is not well adjusted, then everybody is well adjusted. It's like that Incredibles meme. You've seen it. If everybody's super, nobody's super. So if everybody is unwell adjusted, then nobody is. But I would be curious if you are the type of person who would actually flop. Because here's the thing, you beat yourself up about it, like, in real time, but then later on afterwards you think about it and you go, am I really the type of person that like would take workers' comp for something like that? I definitely did not hurt myself bad enough to even get workers' comp, but the thought of it always comes up whenever workplace related injuries enter the picture. I don't know, you can't help but think about it, right? Maybe am I the only one? There's no way. You can't help but think about it. Anyway, I would be curious if you were the type of person who would realize what is happening in real time and just flop to your heart's desire. I think the maximum that I could have played this particular situation would have been, maybe a couple weeks off, but it might have been worth it. Might have still been worth it. Still probably would have had to go see a doctor, and then the doctor would have had to look at my black ass. Funnily enough, that's the only context that I will ever be able to say, kiss my black ass and it apply. That would never happen in any other circumstance. But yeah, what would you do? Here's the thing, though. I would feel so bad about it. There are certain types of people, right? And there are types of people that I feel like you have to look, even if you hate your job, even if you hate everything that you do, you still have to earn it somehow, at least, in order to at least perform your role somewhat as a well-adjusted person. We're going back to that. But I don't know, there's just something morally in me that, even if I had thought about it at the time, I probably would not have actually flopped. The thing is, you can sound cool all you want and go, yeah, I would do it. I totally would have flopped and gotten weeks off. It's like, then you think about, ignore the cats, but you think about, is that really all that cool to have had a couple weeks off because, you injured yourself like an idiot? And the only reason that you even have it off in the first place is because you did it on the company's time. Well, on your time. But, of course, we're all indentured servants, so it's company time / our time. See there, I'm laughing at indentured servitude and not the joke that I made. It is funny. See, think about it. Indentured servitude. There's a hilarity to that. Anyway. So, yeah, what would you do if that happened to you? If you actually got injured on the job, how'd you play it? I'd be curious. Or if you have had situations like that before, if you've been on workers' comp, or if you've even just randomly gotten time off, I'd like to hear what the circumstances were with you surrounding that. I guess the thumbnail for this could be the great workers' comp discussion. Is it worth it or not morally? Ooh, here we go. Maybe a catchy YouTube title. Attention grabbing would be are you a literal piece of shit for flopping on the job? No, it doesn't work, because then you have to explain what flopping means, and nobody that doesn't watch LeBron knows what flopping is. Come on. Anyway, so I want to get to a couple of other things. You know what? I'm deciding currently live, not really live, but with the record button on, whether or not to just kind of do this all in one shot. This show is meant to be a shorter one, by the way. Funnily enough, I recorded right before the election. So we're in January. So 2 months ago, I was thinking about coming back, and I recorded 30 minutes, and it was literally about the election. And then I was going to record a second segment, and then just never did, because it was just a flash in the pan. It was a flash in the pan moment. It had to be seized. And then the second part of the moment was not seized, but that's how it goes sometimes. You know how it goes. But that can't see the light of day, because it's does anybody even care about the election anymore? He's in the office. He's the president now. Inauguration day's passed. I can't use that. That's way old content. And it was supposed to be, it was actually somewhat motivational too. I had a really brain juice day, where your brain just fires on all synapses, and you know what it's like. You get, even if you are the most bipolar or the lowest of the low, emotionally, mood-wise type of person, no matter what, there is always always, even if it comes very, very sparingly, even if it does not come very often, it's going to happen occasionally where you will get the day where you will have just brain firing on all synapses. You'll be feeling great. You'll be feeling productive. You'll be, zip, zap, bip, bop, get all the shit done, forget about it. And that was one of those days. Unfortunately, the next day was not one of those days. So I think that might just have to be the strategy, is we just sit here and it'd be a shorter show, but we just boom, record it all one shot. Speaking of which, coming up in a little bit. So Severance is on right now. We are 2 episodes into season 2, and I want to talk about Severance a little bit. And of course, spoiler alert, whatever. It seems to be the biggest show out there from what I am seeing right now. Oh, by the way, we might as well just... Do we get into it now? Do we not? Maybe we do. I saw a very, very interesting post on Twitter/X, whatever people are wanting to call it. Is it even hipster to be like, I'm not calling it X, I'm still calling it Twitter? I don't know. The moods change. You know how it goes. But I saw a very interesting post that said something like, you know what? America is just slightly better when we have the quintessential Sunday night TV show. Unfortunately, I don't remember who posted this, so I can't attribute credit, but it was not me. That's all I've got to say. If you've seen the original post, it's probably got like 28,000 million views by now. But that's the gist of it, right? Is that America is greater, again, when they're not Trump related at all, but America is greater when we have the quintessential Sunday night show that everybody is watching, right? Like, wasn't The Sopranos kind of like that? The classic Sunday night HBO drama. That's what it is. The classic Sunday night good-ass HBO show that is on Sunday nights when the new episodes come out. Here's the thing, though, with all the streaming bullshit, it sounds like a complete boomer, but I get it. I just pirate everything. Unofficially. No, wait, what am I supposed to say? No, I watch everything legally, of course, via whatever streaming service is there that happens to cost $24.99 a month, which is absolutely ridiculous, by the way. How anybody is coughing that up, I don't know. When you could watch it for free. Absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, the quintessential HBO Max, you could do it today with the streaming bullshit. Just put it on HBO Max, release it on Sunday nights. Like, right now, Severance would be that show. Like a year ago, or however long it is, what the is it? Succession would have been that show. Like that. Maybe Succession was on Sunday nights. But look, see, America was better when Succession was on. If it was on Sunday nights, America was a better place. It wasn't. But you just felt better. It was all fake. Just like everything's fake. It was all fake. But you just think about it. You felt better. You really did. You felt better after you watched the HBO quintessential cultural drama on Sunday evenings at approximately 9 p.m. Eastern. That's the right time. 9 p.m. You have to do it at 9 p.m. Otherwise, what are you doing it for? If it's at 8 p.m., that's too early. 9 p.m. is the sweet spot for Sunday night. Just think about it. Think about all the times that you've had a quintessential Sunday night show that you've looked forward to at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central on HBO. Think about it. Think about those times in your life. There are 2 distinct times in your life. In fact, there are only 2 ways that you could separate your life. My finger's bleeding. You can see that on the camera, but otherwise I just told you. 2 modes in life, right? Think about it. There's you know how people separate their lives into like chapters, you know, where like, oh, I was with this ex then, and I was with this ex then, and I was with this ex then. That's how women separate their life, right? But men separate their life by, okay, I worked this job then, I worked this job then, I worked this job then. Those are the periods of their life, right? You know, unless you're a codependent cuck. See, there, I'm laughing at the idea of being a codependent cuck and not the joke about calling people codependent cucks. Key distinction. You have to realize. But, what the fuck was I talking about? See, I'm not as smart as Trump. He could have brought it right back. He could have brought it back. But instead, I get the idea of a codependent cuck stuck in my head and think it's funny. But, oh yeah, 2 modes of life, right? Boom. See, we got there. You just have to fumble for a bit. 2 modes of life, right? Mode, when you have an HBO show that you're looking forward to on Sunday nights, and then times that you're not, right? Men and women, they separate the chapters of their life differently. What should be the chapter of your life, right, is this period of my life. I had a very fantastic HBO show on Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern to look forward to, but in this other period of my life, I did not have a Sunday night HBO show at 9 p.m. Eastern to look forward to. You have to make those distinctions, otherwise, what are we even doing with life, honestly? So the first 2 episodes of Severance season 2, here's the thing, right? Severance is that quintessential show right now. Unfortunately, it's on Friday nights, which, whatever, dude, whatever. You fucked up, but whatever. I'm still going to watch it. But, so the first 2 episodes are out right now, okay? And of course, the thing that everybody's talking about right now, which seems to be like this trend in shows, like in order to show that you were a qualified director, apparently one of the big things that you have to do is the continuous single camera shot, right? That seems to be the biggest hallmark of developer skill, right? And so Severance just kind of shoehorned that one in. The first scene of season 1, I'm not even going to get... I'll tell you when we get to spoiler alerts. Spoiler alerts. I should probably enunciate that. We're not there yet, but this isn't even a spoiler, okay? But the first scene of the first episode of season 2 is just this one long, like 3-minute single camera shot, right? And they seem to be doing that these 2 episodes. They're just throwing like they're throwing like little artsy shots in there just for the sake of doing it, like the building scene with that other shot, you know. We should probably enter like spoiler alert territory, I guess. So, you know, if you haven't watched the first 2 episodes of Severance, I guess you should probably turn back now, and there will be chapters in the podcast and the YouTube video, so just skip this one, I guess. But they're being pretentious just for the sake of doing it, and it almost feels like they're trying to cram too much. Here's the thing about what the dynamic is of the dramas that we have now versus, like, say, maybe the great ones that we had back in like the early 2000s to maybe early 2010s was about when it started to change, right? Remember back then, back in the aughts and the tens, when a season of a drama would be like 24, 25 ridiculous amounts of episodes long, right? And those ridiculously long episode counts allowed the show to like really, really flesh itself out a little bit. Now, of course, the drawback to that is that, of course, there are going to be some moments in there where, you know, it's not like stellar material, or, you know, maybe it could be classified with the stereotypical anime problem, right? Where there's, it's just filler, man. This whole arc is just filler. This whole arc is just filler. And sure, you had some of that too on the occasion when you had the ridiculously long seasons of dramas back in the day, right? I think about it now. My favorite show of all time, two of my favorite shows of all time, probably one and two. Still haven't decided which one is one and which one's two yet. Are Lost and The Sopranos, right? And both of those had like Sopranos not as much, but Lost for sure, especially given that I'm rewatching it now. But Lost for sure had like 20 something episodes per season. And that allowed you to really like dig into the characters and branch out a little bit. And it allowed you to have some moments occasionally in the show where not every single moment, like not every single second of the run count of an episode had to like be very high impact, had to be critically important, you had to be like, for instance, paying attention to every single part of the scene, even some ridiculously like maybe off-camera stuff, maybe not off-camera stuff, but like random things in the scene that you have to be paying attention to in order to fully grasp it. Like, for instance, and I felt this during Severance, where like you would watch an episode and it would be intense, sure, and it would be great, and I am enjoying it right now, don't get me wrong, and there are a lot of aspects about kind of the modern upper echelon of shows, right? There are a lot of good things about those too, right? But one of the things that Severance, the first two episodes of season 2 of Severance, makes very, very apparent that I was not able to put into words before watching these two episodes, right, was that it felt like in Severance, every single second of the runtime of both of the episodes felt like it had to be like every single moment, every single thing had to be perfect. Every single bit of dialogue had to mean something. Every single thing on the camera had to mean something. There was almost no pause just to like shoot the shit or like even expand it. I don't really know what I mean by that, but you kind of get what I mean, right? Like every single second, every moment, every bit of that runtime has to like mean something. And the thing is, they have to cram so much intensity into that small period of time, into like maybe say 8 to 10 episodes now, because they can't fully flesh it out into 20 to 24 episodes. Like, if they could do that, then I would bet you that not every single scene had to have an incredibly dramatic, high-tension score, high-intensity camera effects, high-intensity acting, high-intensity everything. It just ramps up the intensity to 11, and you are spending every single second, every single moment, every single bit of that runtime of both of those episodes on edge all the time, intense out of your mind to where you're almost like tired at the end of it. And that sounds like that kind of sounds like a rush now, but and that the idea of that, it might sound exciting if you're like an adrenaline junkie, right, where you're thinking, oh well, I want to be gripped. The argument for this style of show, right, and can't say that I'm either for or against it, because I enjoy aspects of both, right, the condensed nature of it and the fleshed out nature of it, right? So I'm not making an argument for either one of them, really. I'm sure you guys have your preferences out there, but I'm not completely picking sides. I'm just noticing the difference, really, if you get what I mean. But you'll notice that, in episodes of the old shows, right, you had some time to breathe. Everything wasn't like utterly important to everything, and if you didn't like hyper analyze every second of that one scene from whenever, then you're just and it's all over, right? So I don't know. The thing is, though, I just kind of have that's pretty much just a general take on Severance as a whole so far. I'm not really going to comment on the storytelling yet, because we of course have to take everything that I just said about, intensity levels, right, into account when we manage our expectations about what it is that we're watching, right? The thing is, though, despite all of that, despite all the pretentious nature of it, it almost feels pretentious just for the sake of being pretentious, because like it knows that it's the hot somehow. That's the thing. You can tell when shows just know that they're like supposed to be the hot And I like Adam Scott. He's the one that plays the main character. I like Adam Scott as an actor. I actually, funnily enough, I hated him in season 1. But the first 2 episodes of season 2, I thought he's doing a fantastic job. He's doing an incredible job at the role right now, right? And one of the things that I'm thinking about is I bet you Adam Scott right now is in this frame of mind where he's like, all right, this is my Walter White role. This is going to make me like Bryan Cranston 2.0. That seems to be what it sounds. I don't know. You can feel that when you see some of the moments that his character has at the start of season 2, right? You can tell. Just like watch it. If you haven't watched it yet and you don't care about spoilers, so you're still watching this for some reason, but watch it through this lens, right? Watch Adam Scott, and keep in mind though, I'm enjoying it, right? He's doing a good job. I'm enjoying his performance. But still, keep in mind, look at it through this lens. Try watching it through this lens as though Adam Scott is playing the character as if he's thinking about it like his Walter White-esque role, right? Think about it like that. And see if it makes any more sense to you. Or like, see if you kind of get a bigger kick out of it. But yeah, that's, again, not going to comment on the story because we're just 2 episodes in. That is still interesting. The thing though that I'm curious about is it almost seems like this is going to go in a completely different direction. Like, what's going to happen when, and you have to think about this kind of stuff, what's going to happen when they're not in that office anymore? What's going to happen when that part of the story naturally is not part of the story anymore? And I think it's going to go there. It almost has to. But then the problem with that, though, is that does it turn into like later seasons of Westworld where they get out of the park? And sure, you may think that, like, sure, there's only so much story that they could tell in the park. Sure, there's only so much story that they could tell in the office. In that office, they're going to have to leave eventually, right? But it also significantly downgraded the quality of Westworld, the show, when they did that. It almost seemed like they couldn't figure out a new dynamic. So I'm curious to see where it's going to go. Now, of course, keep in mind all of the previous stuff that we said about it's pretentious, it's almost just for the sake of being so, which I couldn't help but feel the whole time. The thing is, though, despite all of that, that may be annoying, and you may kind of like laugh at it or groan at it here and there, but for the most part, in general, I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm still kind of enjoying it, honestly. It's still probably the best show I think that is running at the moment, I would guess. Assuming you're not into like any of the Star Wars bullshit or, you know, all the other IPs that just have new stuff out now for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you why there's so much slop. Anyway. All right. So this is going to be a quickie return to the airwaves to kind of warm up a little bit. Get the chops back. Even though I have a broken tooth. Get them back. and get ready to doing some more of these. Hopefully, maybe go back to doing one a week. Keeping my fingers crossed. But so, I guess we might as well do it now, because as we kind of wrap up the show here.
Housekeeping.
Got to.
Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Haven't seen you guys in a while.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
Housekeeping.
Go away.
It's been a long break. So, gosh, it really has been a long break. This most recent break between the last show and this show is definitely the longest break in between shows so far. And I'll kind of wrap up everything that I want to say related to that up into a fairly similar point at the end, right? Which is, normally this would be the part where we would take a break. We would do Lighthouse, Jock Bible Study afterwards. But I'm going to get to that in just a moment. But first of all, I would like to maybe potentially go back to doing some regular shows again. Again, we're just vibing. We're just chilling as it stands right now. We're just practicing. We got to get practiced again. Look, I got to practice being able to talk while there is a cat clawing at my leg and asking for attention. If you were watching the camera, you saw him earlier. But yeah, as for the show's future, we're going to try maybe some different stuff here and there out. For one, I am changing the setup in here fairly soon, but I also did not want to wait to record an episode until I did that. So, I just plop down the little mushroom chair, set some stuff up, turn the camera on. All right, let's go. Let's do this. I don't even know if there's anything else in the current zeitgeist, in the current thing cycle that I want to talk about before we kind of dive into the future of the show here. I don't really think so. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened, but the problem is that if you pay attention to every stupid ass political thing that has gone on, you're going to drive yourself crazy. And I also don't really care about the Super Bowl because I'm going to be working. We got the Super Bowl coming up too, but I don't really give a because I hate Kendrick Lamar, as we found out last episode. Still hate him. Don't ask me why. And I get that, it's bad to hate pointlessly, but I also don't think that it's hating pointlessly. Kendrick's just... His voice is so annoying, dude. That's that shit I don't like. But I'll also be working. You know what? I could have had the Super Bowl. I could have had the Super Bowl off. I don't really want it off, and somebody else has already taken it off. But even if I did want it off, I wouldn't. They would have had to give it to me then, though. If I was injured, I don't care. Especially given that it's the Chiefs and the Eagles. God, ugh, gross. Does anybody want to watch that? Anybody? You have to watch the Chiefs and the Eagles and probably some Taylor Swift shots and Kendrick Lamar. Ugh, gross. I'd almost rather be working. Almost. Anyway, so yeah, we'll be doing I told myself I was going to try and enunciate my words today, but it doesn't seem to be going over very well. We'll get there. You had to practice. It's been more than 6 months. But I guess the only other thing would be, so we're not going to be doing Lighthouse, Jock Bible Study on the main show anymore. Instead, I'm going to actually spin it off as a completely separate podcast. I'm probably not going to do them as often as the main show. The main show I would like to hard commit to doing once a week. And there's a reason for that, first of all. I think that there are two separate worlds that I don't think that they're meant to collide. I'll leave it at that. I don't think that those two worlds are meant to collide. I also feel like I don't feel very convicted would be the right Christian word to use, I think. I don't feel very convicted anymore. Like, for instance, I don't really feel like God is calling me to use this platform for that means. However, I would still like to continue, even through my own volition. I still would like to do some form of Bible study show, but I'm not going to put it on the main show anymore. I don't think that's an appropriate form of outreach at the moment. I still would encourage people to listen to it, but I think that those two worlds are just so distinct that I'm going to keep them from colliding in the future. Try and choose my words somewhat carefully here. But with that in mind, though, shortly after this episode comes out, there will be another Lighthouse Jock Bible Study episode coming out. I'm just going to go the thing, too, is that when you're trying to do two separate things and putting them together in the same entity, right, it almost kind of inadvertently changes the other two. Like, the presence of two things naturally changes the other one in a closed system, if that makes any sort of sense at all, right? When you have two things that are not necessarily supposed to coexisting together, the two of those things morph each other in ways that I kind of want to avoid. Like, for instance, I want to be able to go all out. I started this way, and I've kind of calmed down, not just as I've gotten a little bit older, but also, as I become a stronger Christian too, right? Which is that I have toned down a little bit of the just straight up ridiculousness and pure like engagement baity shock jock type antics since the show first started. The funny thing is, though, is that I think I've gotten better at it, but have just avoided doing it. However, I would like to go back to like having fun here, and not necessarily fun at the expense of my conviction for like having a relationship with God or anything, right? It's just, I also do not necessarily think that this is going to get me in trouble, right, with the Christian sect, right? Despite the fact that I am, in a sense, one of you. Which is that my kind of problem with the modern Christian mindset right now is that I personally do not think that all of life... I was talking to my dad about this. I was having like my birthday dinner over the holidays, and I was talking to my dad about this, actually. And I don't think he knew how to respond, because I think he kind of feels fairly similar, but probably not to the degree that I do. He's definitely kind of gotten into it and more adapted to it than I have. But I don't think, I guess I'll get to the point, right? I don't think that like all of life should be, nor is, a Bible study. I think that the Bible as an entity is a thing. It's obviously the tomb of all the answers, right? It's the thing that you go back to, and then you go out, and then like you continuously go back and forth to it and from it, to it and from it, with what you've gotten from it, right? And I think that those are two distinct places. And having Lighthouse Jock Bible Study on the main show almost felt like those two worlds colliding with each other. And I'm also open to defend my position, even though it's a YouTube comment, and the fact that you're even opening yourself to defending your position against YouTube comments, like, what the are you doing? But I don't know. I don't think I'm incorrect in this choice and this decision. However, of course, I will still do Lighthouse Jock Bible Study, even though I feel like my conviction, like what God wants me to do, like my greater purpose, the one North Star, might not be this. And I'm feeling it dwell farther and farther away from this. That said, when that thing ends up coming around, I will be more than willing to dedicate myself to it once it becomes clear. But for the time being, this is just going to be I'm going back to doing for fun radio show with an additional Bible study show, just because, there's still a place for that, but it should be a separate place. That's basically the extent of my position. That's about it. I really don't think it's that controversial. That being said, though, still, you can subscribe indeed to the Lighthouse Jock Bible Study channel. It's on this channel as an affiliated one, but you can find it. It's Lighthouse Jock Bible Study on YouTube. Obviously not as big of a channel as this one, but I'm going to keep them separate. And I think that's the way to go from here. But I would like to go back to not being inappropriate just for the sake of being inappropriate, right? But I also kind of want to return to my roots just a little bit. We are in God's playground after all. And I think I found a way to reconcile. And I'll go over some of this in the actual Bible studies show, if anybody's curious. But I think I found a way to reconcile being bad with being good, if that makes any sense at all. I know both of those things have incredibly loaded meanings, but you'll have to stay tuned to see how it ends up playing out. So, all right, that'll just about do it. See, wasn't that easy? We just sat here. We got it all done. One shot. And you know what? I had some fun too. Maybe that's the key here, is to just remember how much fun you're having. And have some fun. I was about to say have some GD fun. Nope. I've been really, really bad about that in real life. I'll slip a lot, but I will stick to that at least. Anyway, all right, that'll just about do it for, God, what is this, episode number 14? I want to say join me next week. You know what? F*** it. Join me next week. We're doing this shit. Yeah. Join me next week. Committing to it. Anyway, love you all. Bye.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.